I got into flipping because of HGTV. Horrible.
They do a great job selling that dream, don't they?
They do.
I am your guest host for today, Jen Worthy. I am the Mrs. to Mr. Worthy, who you're used to seeing on this podcast, and happy to be here as the first guest host and getting this show started today. Hello, Vet to Vet podcast listeners. We are here with a very special episode today. We've gone ahead and booted the boys out and the ladies have taken over. I am so excited to be sitting with the absolute real estate gurus in the Phoenix area, the Super Sisters, Janat and Gabby Avila today. My friends, known you guys now like 4 years, right?
That's
it's
crazy. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, and you guys were just getting started and building your business, and look at everything that it's become today.
I know. I was trying to remember how we met, but
this young man right over here in the corner with the headphones on is how we met. So, with that, welcoming Janat and Gabby today. They are with the A-Team, eXp Realty, right here in Phoenix. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you.
It's going to be history-making here as I am the first guest host, so many thanks to Joe and Tom for trusting me with the agenda and the guests today, as well as the content. You two are an absolute power couple. And I'm just going to jump right in. I'm excited to talk about your business, women in entrepreneurship, women leadership, and what you guys are doing. So with that, I'll go ahead and start. So tell me, how did your business get started and how's it going?
Okay, so we actually got into real estate about 8 years ago now, which it flew by. I cannot believe it's already 8 years.
It's insane.
And I'm the younger sister. I actually got into real estate thinking, hey, I'm going to start this part-time because I need something to help me pay for college. So at the time, I was a pre-med student. And I just wanted something that I could do on the side. And I quickly learned you cannot do this on the side. So during the summers, I would go ahead and go full in, practice real estate. However, Janet would go with me everywhere. So I was probably, 19 or 20 when I got into real estate. So I was really young.
Wow.
Did not know. I remember the first day I got licensed and I walked out and I was like, great, where do I get my clients from? What do I do now? Did not know I had to go find clients and everything. But Janet was my marketer.
What was her marketing rep?
My marketing rep. So she would go with me everywhere. And so she would tell me what to do. She would tell me, hey, you need to call people. You need to do this and that. So she kind of guided me. And I was like, you know what? Why don't you get licensed and we become partners? And she's like, no, that's all you. So one day she got home from work and I was like, I paid for your school. You get to be my partner now. And fast forward 8 years, we're here now.
Yeah. So I was working for Bank of America. I was working for Bank of America doing collections.
Wow.
Yeah. I hated my job, with a passion. You know, I started doing short sales and loan modifications when the market crashed.
Yeah.
So that's what I was doing for the bank. I started with a nonprofit, and then I ended up getting promoted through someone, and they hired me on with Bank of America. And then the market shifted. It became nice and happy again. And then they closed that department, so they put me in collections.
Oh, my goodness.
And I would cold call people collecting, late payments on credit cards. And it was such a bad job. I hated it. But I was always number one. Wow. I was always a top performer. And I don't know, one day I got home and she was like, hey, you start school today. And I was like, wait, no, I don't. And then she's like, no, you do, and it starts at 1 o'clock. And I was like, what? So I ended up going to school. I was so upset. I was like a little girl. Drove myself to school, and I was so mad. And I'm always an overachiever for stuff like that. So I ended up getting my license in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
None of us are surprised.
I ended up opting in for a fast course, and it was every single day. I would work from 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. and then take a break drive to Scottsdale, and then I would take the class there every day until 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And I did it in 2 weeks. And then it just started from there. It started from there.
And you're here.
Yeah.
So, super successful real estate business.
Thank you.
Flipping houses, 2 coffee shops.
Yeah.
You ladies are doing it all. What's the size of your team in your business today?
So right now we have 8 agents under us, and we're not looking to massively grow. We're all about value and adding value to our team versus growing the team very, very fast. And we quickly learn that it's not that easy having a team.
Yeah, people.
It's not,
The
yeah.
people factor.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, actually, I don't know what we expected of it because we just happened to grow very fast. We weren't looking to grow. We didn't want to grow a team, actually. But there was a girl who was very adamant on joining our team. We're like, we don't want to grow a team. She was like, just, can you mentor me at least? And, we're like, okay, let's try to mentor you. And we enjoyed it.
So Janet, we mentored her for 3 transactions. That was kind of the deal. It's like, hey, we'll mentor you for the first 3. Then you'll kind of just go on your own, and we'll connect you to a team that you want to be in. And she was like, okay, that works. So very quickly, we got her 3 transactions, and she learned a lot. But then she was like, I don't want to leave. I want to be on the A team. And we were like, no. And Jenna was like, no, like, these are some great teams. You should go, like, interview them. And then I was like, Janet, maybe we should just take her. Like, it's actually nice seeing her like, grow.
Yeah.
And Jenna was like, okay, let's do it. So that's how the A team was born.
That's amazing.
Very
She
spontaneous.
did phenomenal. Her first year, she did 11 transactions on her first year.
Yeah.
It took a lot of coaching, but we're also very passionate about what we do, and we took her on, and it was great to see her grow.
And it was really funny because the other 2 girls that came right after her were like, "Hey, you told us you weren't hiring. Like, we want to be on the A team. We want to." And we're like, "Okay, we'll get you too."
Yeah. So then it's slowly started growing, but yeah, we noticed that being a team leader, you have to be present, and with everything that we have on our plate, it became very, very hard. But we're like, you know what, we committed to this, so let's be as present as we can, and that's why we don't want to grow the team.
Yeah.
So we're all about quality over quantity,
Yeah.
We do want to teach these girls and guys, because we do have one guy on our team right now, and we want to teach them the ropes of how to really be successful in real estate, because real estate can really be life-changing,
And it could be brutal.
very brutal.
It's a very brutal business out there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
The industry, it's like a dog-eat-dog kind of world. So
Yeah.
teaching them the right way to do it.
Yeah. So let's jump into that, because that's a great segue into a question I had. Arizona is known as real estate's most saturated agent market, but you guys have thrived. You have put agents out there and mentored them, whether they stayed with you or moved on. You guys are crushing it in transactions every year. You have a beautiful office, and you have a lot of respect. I mean, your reputation in the market, people come to, we came back. For those that don't know, I sold a house with them and bought a house with them, and it was the best transactions I've ever had. So how do you guys put that all together and stay ahead of your competition when it is the most saturated market in the United States?
Well, number 1, we don't sleep. But
that's normal.
I guess it's just about we try to gather and stay as organized as possible. We have a vision where we put all our clients first and prioritize our business. Like it's our baby. So we make sure that all our clients are taken care of and everything. But it's really a lot of hard work. It's so much putting events together for our clients and then nurturing them and just staying on top of our database. It's key to the business, but it's also really hard to do.
Yeah. I also think one of the main things to be successful, a lot of people don't treat real estate as a business. and you have to have that entrepreneurial mindset. Like, you have
They
to.
think it's a hobby. Like, I'm going to go sell 6 houses a year just in my spare 5 hours a month, right?
Exactly. And it's not like being a successful real estate agent, like, you have to run it as a business. You're a business owner. No one's going to tell you what to do. If you're not working, you're not going to get paid, so you have to learn how to sacrifice freedom, because it takes a lot for you to be successful in any business. Number 2, like she said, a lot of hard work and discipline. You have to have it. If you don't, you're not going to make it. Plain and simple.
Yeah.
Like, there's no magic trick to real estate.
And then to piggyback off of that, we decided to make it more of a business rather than like a transactional thing. So the first thing that we did was get an office. So we actually used to work at a coffee shops, and you can't really cold call when you're working at a coffee shop. You can't have your paperwork everywhere when you're working.
You mean the espresso machine sort of spraying in the background's not good for? Okay, all right, noted.
I mean, it's a great place to meet clients.
It sure is,
but not to actually work a business out of there.
Yeah.
So we took the leap when we were 6-7 years ago to get an office.
Yep.
And that changed our business a lot because we had like a home base to come to. We had somewhere to you're coming into an office. You're no longer going into your home office, which is very, very different because you have to dress up and you have to act differently.
Yeah. So I think that has a lot to do too, because working from home, we can't, or at least I can't. You just have to, like she said, like, you have to have like a home base and get up and get ready and have that mindset shift versus just getting up, working from your PJs, like having the dogs around, the TV on, waking up at whatever time you want. No, like, we're like, no, this has to change, just like getting up early, driving to work, like, if it's work, right? Like, I was very successful with Bank of America and I hated my job, but every single day I would show up and I would always be top performer. And I was like, if I could do that, I could do it for myself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's that discipline you're talking about, for sure. Yeah.
And it's funny because people would ask, like, I would tell my friends and they would be like, oh, what are you going to do tomorrow? I'm like, well, I have work from like this hours to these hours and then I'm free. And they're like, it's so funny. You say work, but you make your own schedule. I'm like, no, it's still work. I treat it as my job. Like, I have to go in.
Yeah, no set hours here.
Yeah. And we never knew how much it would grow because we would just show up, right? Every single day, just show up at the office. And it wasn't until recently, and I'm talking recently, like maybe last year, maybe 2 years ago, that we started seeing how much we've accomplished, that we're like, wow, we've actually done a lot and we've grown. And, to see our numbers year after year increase, it was very beautiful. We never really tracked it or really did it intentionally. We would just intentionally work, but we never knew what we were building in the back, which was really beautiful to see.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to ask you both, we're going to get a little vulnerable for a minute. So everybody has that moment in their career, their life, where they take that chance on themselves. What was that moment that you said, I believe in myself and I'm going to take this leap and I know it's going to work? Because you both jumped into a pretty unpredictable, uncertain career path, but you've completely made it a total success. So what was that moment you both knew that you just believed in yourself?
So for me, I think it was back when I started, when I did end up graduating from college. I was supposed to take 1 year off and then go into med school. However, once I graduated, I had done my first closing and I saw how much money and potential there was in real estate. And then I was like, wow, I could actually do that. Like, I can actually make money now rather than wait 8 years and become a doctor and then start something. And then just working alongside with Janet, I was just like, oh my gosh, like, this is like my dream job. Like, why wouldn't I want to do this? Like, it was really scary, especially telling my parents, like, hey, I no longer want to be a doctor. I found another career that I want to focus on. That was kind of when I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I have to go all in because the only one who's going to be upset at the end is going to be myself. So I just couldn't let myself down. So that's what I knew.
What about you, Janet? When did you know you believed in yourself?
Okay, well, on me is we started flipping in 2017.
Yeah.
And on our very first flip, which happened to be our first and only flop so far.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy, but that house, we were so lost. It was the very first flip. It was supposed to be cosmetic. Ended up being almost a teardown.
It was
That's how lost we were.
nothing cosmetic.
And I got into flipping because of HGTV. Horrible.
They do a
Don't
great
ever-
job
right?
selling that dream, don't they?
They do.
And in the middle of the flip, I decided to quit my job because I hated my job already. And I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go all in. And you know, in the middle of a flip, quitting a job that paid you almost $100,000 with basically no stress, because the moment I clocked out, it's done, right? And I had great
Meanwhile,
benefits.
we were literally
losing thousands of
surviving off of scraps.
So I quit a job that I had amazing benefits, vacations, like 8 weeks vacation, paid vacation, no stress, but I hated it and I was not happy. And I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go all in and make this my business. Like I said, if I can do all in there, I could do all in here. And there's no turning back. And I just quit. And I was very scared, but I was like, all right, it is what it is, you know? So it was very hard. But at that point, I had to move back in with my parents, which they were very happy. You know, that I was back home. But it took a lot of sacrifice. You know, it was not easy.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to make it no matter what. I am not going back to corporate world, period.
Yeah.
And we did it.
It's amazing.
You know, I
It's a
never
great
looked back.
story.
No, I would never go back.
Yeah. Betting it all on yourself.
Yeah.
It's great.
It really
yeah.
is, yeah.
So, you know, I love your designs. I love watching you both transform a space and redo the interior. Your colors are spot on. And it feels like interior design is really just a love that both of you have. But you also have all of these must-dos all the time with all of your other businesses and running a team and being business owners. How do you guys balance the love to-dos and the must-to-dos?
We fight a lot.
There's the sisterly truth right there.
No, but Jan and I are so different.
Yeah.
So she's really great at designing. I am too, but it's more of a forced kind of.
She could do it. It's my passion.
Yeah.
It's her
I
passion.
could walk into a home and design a home within seconds. I just need one inspiration. It can be a window. It could be a wall or something. Like, okay, I'm going to base my design based on that, and I can design a house within seconds. I'm not even kidding you.
I'm
I
very
believe it.
analytical.
Yeah.
So I believe in drawings. I believe in helping the contractors know our vision that she's trying to articulate.
Yeah.
And so earlier we were actually discussing that because we have to finish a design pretty fast. And no one knows what she wants besides herself. So me having to put everything together, and it's like, okay, we must do it. So it's like, Janet, I know we're busy, but you need to dedicate 2 hours to me so I can figure out what we're doing here.
Yeah.
We almost messed up a bathroom.
Yeah.
But we didn't. But it's more really like staying on top. And I think balancing each other is really like helps us get it through. Putting everything together so it's as clear as possible and like putting the vision into like actual plans so that they can see what we want.
I think that's what it is. I think we're so black and white. We're so different that she's like I'm more like people on the phones with the team. She's more in the back end, like analyzing, putting timelines together, talking to the contractors, and I'm more like delivering, and she takes more
So
action.
Janet will walk into a room and she's like, I want 2 sconces over this wall. And then the trade will be like, how high? Where exactly? I'm just like, okay, that's where my job comes in.
So you push the artist
I push her.
you put her into a box and
Yes.
say, in these hours I need. Yeah.
And even her designs are so different.
Yeah,
So
they're
when-
gorgeous.
They're like night and day too. Like you'll know when she designs something and then you'll know what I designed. It's like, okay, everything's so moody here and so black and everything's so bright and airy here.
Yeah, we design very different. But to answer your question, I think the biggest thing is knowing how to take time of your day in reality to like really we joke around, but at the end of the day, like we're serious. Like we're flipping homes. We have a timeline. We have trades to meet and deadlines to meet. Otherwise, we start losing money. So we need to be on top of everything, you know. So
Yep.
if I flip, I know I'm gonna probably sleep like an hour or two less a night because I'm designing at night because I can't take care of that in the day, you know. But it's such a passion to me or to us that we really don't mind. Like, I love designing. And sometimes I won't even like I'll be designing in my sleep. I'm like,
I love actually seeing like how we put everything, like how it goes so ugly, and then making everything come to life. It's just like I absolutely love it, and it's crazy because you're just like, wow, I literally like I'll show you the paper. This is what I wanted, and the product's right there.
Yeah,
and just monitoring and staying on top of it, choosing the finishes, the colors, going to the tile stores, like our favorite thing to do.
Yeah, but nothing is easy. Like flipping and working in a male-dominated industry, especially in the the real estate investing side, has definitely like it took us a couple of years to get where we're at. Like from having a good team to knowing how to meet timelines, from knowing what's a good price versus not. You know, because when we first started, like somebody would charge us, I'm just throwing numbers out there, $20 a square foot, but people or other investors were paying $8 a square foot. But because we were so young and we were women and we didn't know how much to pay, they'll just be like, okay. And we're like super nice to everyone. Yep. You know? So there's a lot of things you learn on the way. Like it's been a journey for sure.
Yeah. I remember when you walked into a house that we were interested in buying and you just looked at it and you knew that the listing square footage was wrong. And that just, I don't know, it must have taken 7 or 8 years to walk into a place and just know. But you do it. And you do it with your designs. You do it now in negotiating prices. And I think that's an excellent point of being young, being a woman, breaking through in an industry and making sure that you don't get taken advantage of and you get the respect that you deserve and, you know, somebody's not just preying upon that naivety, which actually it's a great place to lead me into my next question. We're all business owners here. We know that in business and in leadership that growth is definitely not linear and success does not happen overnight. So how do you measure success and what would you say were maybe just an example that brought you one of your greatest growth lessons?
I think success to me and growth is having, at first, it would be, like, at first, when people think of growth, it's like money, right? Oh, more money, more money, more money. But in reality, it's like, to be honest, to me, is about building what I want to build. And my biggest goal was to build a real estate portfolio and to be able to have, 12 houses, you know, under us and build a real estate portfolio. To me, that's success, you know, because one of the things that I like to share as a real estate agent is the ability to grow a real generational wealth through real estate. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a realtor, which a lot of people think, oh, you're just selling. But in reality, for example, I have a friend who's going through a very tough situation. And I'm like, buy a house, buy a house, buy a house. This was like 3 years ago. Now she's going through a separation. And the only thing that has a lot of value and is actually her safety net is her house. She bought a house 3 years ago, so now she has an affordable mortgage versus going out there and renting. And if she wants to sell it, she has a lot of equity, you know. So that's an example of building real generational wealth, you know. So for me, success is creating what I wanted, my passion, which was my real estate portfolio. So to me, that's where I was like, wow, I can't believe me or Gabby and I that we came from literally nothing, from Hispanic parents who migrated here from Mexico, rented their entire life and had nothing, to being able to build what we have now, which is a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio in every sector, from Section 8 to Airbnbs to long-term rentals to being designers and buying our own properties and just doing that. That's real success, you know.
That's great. That's great.
I love that.
To me, it's like I said, we're very different.
Here comes the numbers story, people.
No. But I see success very differently than Janet. To me, the more freedom I have is like success to me. Yeah. So we've been working nonstop for the past 8 years, and it wasn't until the last 2020, which is, oh my gosh, that's 4 years already. That's crazy. in 2020, we started traveling.
Yeah.
So once we started to travel and I got to see like really get cultured and see other places of the world and how people live and just be able to disconnect from work and then come back whenever I want. It was life-changing for me. It was like, wow, like I could do that. Like I don't have to ask anybody permission. Like I could do that. So that was like mind-boggling success to me. And I was like, I want to keep working more and more so that there's times that I can take a year off and be like, I will be back.
Yeah.
And making sure that my businesses keep going, that I don't need to be present. I think one of the starting to invest in real estate was game-changing, life-changing because it allowed me to do that long-term. So in the event that we really did want to take off and leave or move to a different country, we're able to do that. We can either live off our rental income or we can sell and cash out on all the equity that those properties sit on. So it's like building actual success and like really generational wealth that we're trying to create.
Yeah.
So,
great lessons for our listeners that success and growth isn't really the number you have in the bank or the amount of degrees hanging on your wall or how many hours you're grinding every day. It's freedom and it's independence. It's being able to be independent
and it's
with
crazy
your life.
Because when we first started, I always heard people say that it's not about the money. And I was like, yeah, that's dumb. It's all about the money. It's all about the money, you know?
Yeah.
But no, it's so true. It's like, it's really not about the money. And once you have the money, being able to use it wisely is very important. Like, Gabby and I don't have, like, a brand new car, you know? Or we don't have, like, you know, the best cars. Or you don't see us with, like, all swagging it. Like, we spend our money very wisely. Yeah. Like, you don't see me in a Lamborghini. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
You're both very humble still, and I love that side of both of you. Is you do work hard, but your clientele, your team, your business partners, everybody knows that you're there in the trenches with them. Not that there's anything wrong about being in the trenches with a Louis Vuitton bag, but the Louis Vuitton bag may not bring the success and the independence in the time. You know,
and that actually came from my parents because my parents were always very like, to them, it was scarcity was definitely something, but I took it differently. Like my dad would always be like, my dad would always tell me, save your money, save your money, save your money. And I did. I saved a lot of my money and I didn't spend a lot of money, but my dad was not the type of person that would invest. He would just save it. Yeah. So then saving that money allowed me to start investing and using that money and grow my money. Yeah. Which when I first started investing, my dad almost got a heart attack. Like, he almost got a stroke. I'm not even kidding you. It's like, you quit your job and you're flipping houses. What the hell's going on? You know, you have zero knowledge in construction. I'm like, I don't need it. But, you know, I kind of did, you know. But yeah, it allowed us to start investing in real estate by saving the money. Because we're very frugal when it comes to, like, getting paid. We're always the last ones to get paid. We always invest in the business first. But thank God we did.
It's like once you actually start investing in money, you start seeing the world differently.
Yes.
So it's like you start seeing things like Janet's always like, let's get a new car. I'm like, yeah, but it's going to depreciate. So it's like really knowing where to, like, it's okay to splurge once in a while, like buy your bags, like do whatever makes you happy. Yeah. But just don't spend the money that you don't have on that. Yeah. Where I like to spend it on other things that I know I'm going to get like a return on it.
Yeah. And let's talk about investing just for a minute, because you're absolutely right. It's such a great point to make is you do start looking at everything differently, but investing doesn't have to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. You can start small. Can you share a story of like, where did you start investing?
Yeah. So I wish I would have started with a first-time buyer home. Like one of those, like, get into your home, 3% down, 3.5% down, get assistance in closing costs, or one of those things. Yeah. But the way I bought my first home, I was 21. I did not have a W-2 income. And as a 1099 employee, like, I was writing things off left and right, so I wasn't financially prepared on paper to buy a home. So the way I bought it was I ended up flipping a house that I couldn't sell. And that's when the market kind of stopped those first 3 months of like March in 2020. So I started panicking. I was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We had, I think, how many properties, hard money? We had so many properties, hard money at the moment. So I was like, I do not know what we're going to do. I need to, and the house wasn't selling. And it was only $200,000.
Okay.
So we got creative. I had to hold the property, I think, for a year on hard money until I can file proper taxes.
Yeah.
And it cost me a lot of money to buy the house, but I was able to buy my first house.
Yeah.
So that was an investment house now. But if I could start the right way, I would have done it when I was a W-2 employee and bought like a first-time home. Because that slowly it's going to be paying off itself, whether it's me living in it or renting it out.
Yeah.
It goes back to our parents.
Yeah.
When I worked at Bank of America and made really good money, I wanted to buy a house. And my dad was always against it. He was like, you're too young to buy a house. Don't do it. How are you going to pay for it? I'm like, the same way I pay rent, you know?
Yeah.
But I never really focused on buying because I wasn't really knowledgeable or I didn't know anything. So I listened to my parents on that. And those were that was back in the days when I can buy a house in Arcadia for like $300,000, you know?
Sure.
Which is the area I was looking at back then. So I didn't. So back to her, I think that's very important, like knowing how to use your money and not be afraid to invest, and also break, your traditions that you have, coming from my parents, that they're all about safety, going to college, having a safe job, getting your salary, and so on and so on. So to them, it was very hard for us to like be completely different. It's like, oh, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. Oh, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. So they had a hard time, but back to that, once we knew all that, one of my first houses that I bought was a multifamily, which is a fourplex, and I was able to buy it as a primary residence, and I only gave 5% down. At that time, the house was $450,000, so 5% down, but that house is worth close to $800,000. Or over $800,000 now. Yeah. And I was only able to give 5% down because I lived in one of them and I rented the other 3.
Okay. Yeah. It's like start somewhere, right? That's the lesson in investing is you've got to take that chance, go back to believing in yourself and start somewhere. And
that's the beauty, because we've helped a lot of clients do that. Like we've helped people become renters, become first-time homeowners, to now becoming first-time landlords, you know?
So, last sort of professional question before we jump into having some fun. You guys have this big team, and we've been talking about it. People have come and gone. But you also have a lot of, I've seen your team, and you have a lot of young women looking up to you. And you're still, young women yourselves. So how do you handle that pressure to continue to be a role model for them when you're still making mistakes, you're still learning, you're still growing, and you guys are still realizing the top tier of where you want your success to be? How do you handle that?
For me, it's really hard.
Is it?
It is. I feel like I have to know everything. So sometimes I have to just like reflect and be like, it's okay. You don't know everything, but you'll find a way to know most things. So if I don't know something, I'll circle back to it, which it took me some time because it was just like, calm down, Gabby. You don't know everything. Like, you'll figure it out. Yeah. You'll find somebody who does know this thing and get back to them. But it's really hard, like, leading the girls. It's different, for sure. But I think it's being in there with them is they get to see it firsthand. Yeah. So they see how hard we work, and they see how we're there every day, most of the days. They see that all we do. So it's like when they're focusing on one thing, it's like, okay, you're only doing one thing, but I'm doing 10 things. So you better do good at that one thing. Yeah. So it's like seeing that, like being that example, and just knowing that, like, hey, you could do everything and it's okay. Like, you'll mess up, but like, as long as you're doing it, like, you're going to get far.
Yeah, role modeling through your credibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think the pressure is more on them. Not
yeah, very true. You want to impress your boss. You want to look good, but you both, again, you're both so down to earth. So how do you handle it?
It's more about being a leader and being there for them, like Gabby said. Because at first I was the same. That's why I was afraid to grow a team, because I was like, I don't know everything. I don't even know how to be a leader. I don't know what. But in reality, being a leader is just being supportive and helping other people's grow, helping others grow, and that's what we do. So back to that, it goes to I don't have any excuses for anything, and if you know my situation with me losing, my left eyesight, and then my peripheral view, I'm still very limited, and I can't drive, or I can't, but I don't have any excuses. Yeah. Like, to me, it's like showing up to work, and if I want something, I'll go after it and I'll get it. I think that helps me be a good leader in teaching or helping the girls or whoever's in my team. Like, anything's attainable in life. Yeah. Anything. And when they see that, they're always like, well, if you do it, I could do it. Well, if you do it, I could do it. And that feels good. And then also, like Gabby said, being present. One of the biggest pressures and difficulties is showing up, so I come to the office every day to be available to them whenever they can. If I have a project going on, my project is open to everyone to come and see. If they have any questions, I'm here to, everything we do, I'm here to help them grow and learn as much. So that's what we do, and that's how we handle it. Just being as available as we can to them and being an open book.
Yeah. And I think it's
being real.
It is. And it helps a lot being present, because the girls come to us and they'll come so stressed. Yeah. Unbearable stress. And it just reminds us, hey, I used to be there. So, they're able to talk their problems out, and we're able to, help them, pinpoint, okay, this is what you have to do, and this is how you tackle it. Yeah. And Janet will even get on the phone calls with them, with, the opposite parties, whether they're a seller, a client, or an actual agent that they have to negotiate. She'll help them negotiate for them.
I feel like I'm their mother sometimes.
All right. 5 fast, fun questions. Introvert or extrovert?
Introvert.
I'm an introvert, too. I feel like an introvert.
She's really not. She's an extrovert. She's not.
Go-to coffee order?
Iced coffee.
Just straight up.
Iced coffee with milk and 3 sugars.
There we go.
I just get an iced latte.
Okay.
With
just
vanilla.
Straight. Oh, with vanilla. Mm-hmm. Okay. Follow the rules or push the limits?
Push the limits.
Push the limits.
Every day, right, ladies? Favorite place to visit?
Mexico.
Mexico, yeah.
You
I
have some
teleport there.
Beautiful content around your visits to Mexico.
I've discovered Mexico in 2020 was actually my first vacation ever.
Really?
And I was amazed on how beautiful Mexico is.
It's gorgeous there.
We're going there on Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. I'll be watching. Your hidden superpower?
I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd. I'm a big nerd.
All right. So you put the cape on and everything.
Yeah.
Nerd cape.
All
Excellent.
the behind the scenes, everything. That's me.
Okay.
I'm good manifesting.
Ooh.
Yeah. I manifest a lot of things, and if I really put my mind into it.
She really does.
Yeah. So I'm trying to manifest my eyesight back, but
oh, okay.
I even manifested my dog to the house exactly where I wanted. It's insane, but I'm very good manifesting.
Ooh, so you're really in touch with that sense. I'm gonna need to spend more time around you. It's so powerful.
I love that, yeah.
So tell our listeners where they can follow you on social media, because you have great content, whether it's tips for home buyers, home sellers, your vacation pictures, your vacation reviews. Tell us where we can follow you.
You can follow me on Instagram at GABBBAY_.
Okay.
And Instagram is where I'm more active, and it's Janet_AZ Living.
Okay. And give a plug for the coffee shop, because if you're on Thomas and Central, it is the best coffee shop.
Oh, thank you.
Mom's homemade breakfasts, right?
Yes.
Give a plug for the coffee shop where people can follow you at.
Thank you. So Thompson Cafe, that's TOMCEN Cafe. Yeah. So we're on Thomas and Central. That's why it's called Thompson.
Yeah, and we love it there. Well, ladies, thank you. I think our listeners are definitely going to really love today's podcast, and thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
I'm on top of the world, I ain't looking down now. Made a name for myself in the